I know some of you might be just sleeping. It's okay. Catch us after FB Live. Huh? We are still alive, but catch us after the FB Live. For some of you, you might be having your brunch, right? Happy enjoying your brunch or even lunch. I'm going to have mine after the entire show. Thank you so much for being with Josephine again. I know someday a lot of you will be with your family. Yeah. And for Sunday and not going out, I'm as happy as you because I have a chance to put on my lipstick. You know, nowadays when we walk out, right, it's always with a mask. We totally forget our lipstick. So this is the only time when you're in the office or you're not meeting anybody, there is no close contact, we can put our lipstick, yeah? My name is Josephine Louis. I am the principal and an image educator with First Image Training. First Image Training is an international image certification where most of my courses, I won't say all, most of my courses, especially the image consulting courses, will be accredited by AICI, Association Image Consultants International, which is the biggest platform, yeah, in the whole world. And also because of AICI, I get to learn a lot of courses. I get to learn and build a lot of, I would say, connections with global trainers all over the world. After I graduate continuously for 5 years, I've been learning from a lot of big gurus, from etiquette to colors to style to many courses. And from there, I would integrate something into my school and do something that is different. Now, I am a person who loves to have experience. So when you come to my school for the courses, you notice all my courses, there will be at least a 30 to 35% of experience. Either you're off-site or I will bring in guests for you to exchange some ideas. So it's a real experience. So talking about experience and talking about during this pandemic, there are two things, good and bad. I always look at the positive and the negative side of a situation. It's totally right to say to some people, to some industry, this pandemic brought them a lot of profit. But on the other hand, a huge number of industries are really suffering. We know if you are watching me, some of them who, you know, for the past few months, you have been sitting at home, so am I, right? But we have to understand our motivation has to continue. Our mind has to keep creating new ideas. For me, although the pandemic may not sound as good as back to normal days, as I am a person who believes a lot in face-to-face training offline. I've just mentioned, right? All my courses, you will have at least 30% of experiences. But during this pandemic, I must say, it kind of forced me into liking myself in front of the camera. We had Eileen yesterday, who is, she is a business coach to image consultants. And one of the key issues Eileen brought up was fear for many things. And one of the fear when you begin as an image consulting in business is about watching yourself and afraid of people talking about you, whether right in front or at the back or whatnot. But this pandemic had did me very well. And I have a very good partner who pushes me into doing a lot of videos and digital live. That is one of the reasons almost every week I bring in people to share a lot of ideas with either image consultants, or if you're not an image consultant, you definitely get something from it. And what do I do for myself? Because face-to-face training is a little bit off the cuff right now. So I decided to do a mastery online course, which is very advanced. You see, once I do teaching, I always teach very advanced. So I will be launching the online mastery color course in the month of November. And I am going to try to bring as much experience as possible to what I do onto the online platform. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm going to teach you step by step from the foundation right up to becoming a competent color consultant. Now, there are so many color consultants in this world, and different people have different systems. I have my own systems because I learned my color systems from Academy Image Mastery. So being an ardent fan of AIM and a diligent student, I'm going to bring the legacy down to all my graduates and students who's going to follow me in my very first online color mastery. And remember, this online mastery, it's not going to be some basic color. It's going to be very intensive training where I will teach you from basics, like I said, to every single step, and even how you parry your words working with your client. And I will teach you the 3 layers of getting the right color for your client. Would that be a little different? If it is, follow my advertisement in a very short period of time. I'm not going to take too much of Denise time. I will bring in Denise very shortly, but please give me a second where I am going to share this live on my Facebook page into my wall so Denise can share it out. And if you are, hang on, I'm just trying to see nope, I'm not getting into my page, just a very short minute. All right, I think it's getting in. What I'm going to do is, friends, if you feel that this session is a good session, I would appreciate and I love you to bits if you try to share out this particular session with your friends, yeah? Now, hang on, let me just share it. All right, do I see this? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm sharing this into my page. Here we go. So Denise can log on to this and we can go on with it. Right. So without much ado, I am so happy today to bring my associate. I call her my associate. Why? This is due to the fact that I have brought Denise to Malaysia a couple of times to work with me on style. Now, Denise is not just an associate, she is my bestie. When I met Denise sometime 12 years ago, I was a little baby after I graduate from MH Consulting. When I say baby, it doesn't mean my age, yeah? So I met Denise and wow, the first thing I look at Denise is this lady, she's really a woman of substance. And I'm swooned to her style. I'm swooned to, you know, her poised character. And she is someone who has absolutely, you know, fabulous artistic details in every piece of outfit that she chooses. So you can imagine, right? I love to go shopping with Denise. So yeah, I have to bring my credit card along. We have shopped from Vancouver to Singapore to Kuala Lumpur. And I know some of my students have actually went into or rather joined us in Denise training as in Style with Elegance. So without much ado, I'm going to bring Denise in, right? Thank you to my producer and my facilitator team. We'd like to bring Denise in. Shall we? File.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all here.
I told you Denise is such a fabulous woman. You just look at her beauty combination.
Students have actually you flatter me.
Maybe help you to slow down the
Style with Elegance. So without much ado, I'm going to bring.
I slow down what, Josephine?
No. Because it's on, no, off. Okay, now it's better. It's okay.
Right, correct. Yeah. So Denise, I'm So I'm so pleased to have you on the same platform with us. Yeah. Now, people, if you are an image consultant, you might want to see if I were to put this way, if I were to put my face close to Denise, can you tell what is the color palette of Denise and the color palette of Josephine? Can you see Denise's face glow with, how would I say, lumiere? In French, is lumiere.
Makeup.
Glow with, not shine, it's really glowing. So, and look at the texture of Denise's skin, so clear, tinted. Now you know, clear, tinted, glowing, transparent. You know what's her color palette, right? I've been to Denise's home couple of years. I used to travel to Singapore, and Denise even utilized her color system on me. You see, even though I'm I'm an image consultant, but without a doubt, we learn from every image consultant, especially people who are already so seasoned in the market. So is Denise. Denise, welcome to Kuala Lumpur and welcome to people here. I'm so glad I have you. Denise, right now,
it's nice to be back in Kuala Lumpur.
Please, yes. By the way, this is one of the reasons why Josephine is still not taken, because Denise hubby is a Malaysian. Right now, it's like, what's attacking in me? Okay, Denise right now is in New Zealand. What time is it in New Zealand, Denise, now?
It is 5:16.
Oh,
5:16 p.m.
So we are about 5 hours behind you. Ahead.
Yes.
You are ahead of us 5 hours. We are behind you 5 hours. And I'm seeing Denise wearing something of a very it's like a winter. For winter.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How cold is it?
It's going to snow today. I would think it's probably about 3 degrees.
Gosh, and it's so hot. So
it has been spring and the blossoms are coming out, but apparently it's going to really snow today. So
you mean it's end of
skiing later?
It's end of winter? Is it end of winter?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's spring.
New Zealand is going to be one of my bucket list.
Mm-hmm. Come over.
In Malaysia, we had our lockdown in the month of March. And subsequently, all of us can only meet our friends, and we hold hands, we give each other motivation during this pandemic season, because we know what we are doing. Our business is really a kind of service, although it's not a tangible business, In Malaysia, I guess also in Singapore, we had really a 2 months lockdown, and gradually it opened up. Gradually the business come back. We are in our, hopefully in the verge of recovery, although wearing a mask is still mandatory when we go out, when we step out of our house. Social distance is still some must. And all of us are still reminded with personal hygiene of washing hands and all this. We know that, right? But we often hear that New Zealand is a country where your country leader makes how would I say, your country leader, the way she handles this pandemic, it was like so good. There were so few cases. Tell me, Denise, how is the situation in New Zealand, and how's your economy doing after this pandemic? Or are you already in the verge of total recovery? We love to hear from real people rather than from the social media.
Well, in New Zealand, we're very fortunate to be an island. So it was a situation where we were able to keep COVID out of our shores as soon as we locked down our borders. So in that way, I think it was a lot easier for New Zealand to control the COVID situation. Of course, I think that Jacinda Ardern, our Prime Minister, did a very good job of taking action very, very fast. It was
She's a woman, right?
Oh yes, that's right. I think she's a lot of people around the world are very in love with her now, I would say. Yes. Yes, she's done a really good job of that. And so consequently, New Zealand is in a situation where we're almost back to normal, almost, in terms of social interaction. We are able to go out virtually like normal. Right now, most of New Zealand, except for
mask-free,
are in what we call level 1. And that just means that we have to be careful of hygiene, careful of making sure that we don't come in contact with people if we've got a cold or any symptoms. But apart from that, businesses are open and everything is fairly back to normal, except for Auckland is at a slightly higher level than us. Economy-wise, though, we are still, I think the whole world has really been affected. I mean, it's obviously, and we are too, because New Zealand is very much of a tourist-based, tourism is very important to New Zealand. So without tourists coming in, it has really strongly affected many of the tourist resorts. Yeah. But having said that, New Zealanders are really good at being able to support our own country. Yeah, so we're being our own tourists now.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. I'm still awaiting when the borders will be open. When your borders will be open, Denise?
We really don't know. Between Singapore and New Zealand, we're able to travel without too much restriction. Although, having said that, if we elect to travel out of New Zealand, when we come back, we need to pay $3,000 to quarantine ourselves for 2 weeks. So that's a really huge consideration. I'd love to come back to Singapore and to Malaysia. But at the moment, I think it's still pretty difficult. I think most of us would be very wary about going on an airplane at this point in time.
Exactly, and it's almost equivalent to us. We also have to pay a good $3,000 over, for that 14-day quarantine. But I felt this is really the right way the government does it, so that it is good for ourselves, it's good for our family, and we will not be pointed, you know what I mean? That you are really the super spreader. So, Denise, we talked about this situation, it affects us. What about yourself? In our business, like I said, we are in a business of service, and that's an intangible business. How do you cope with this pandemic during your time in New Zealand? I believe New Zealand, it's not like Singapore where, they are so, you have your own way of style and fashion, but in Hong Kong or in Singapore, every other season there's a new collection. So will that hamper your business right now in New Zealand?
Yeah, I think with all the uncertainty, a lot of people have not been having so many public gatherings or events. Well, it just happens that I was at a fashion show about 3 days ago and to a fashion event yesterday, which I sponsored one of the events. And it was really nice to be able to get together with everyone again. But even up to the last minute, it was really tough for the organizers because we didn't know whether how many people could attend, because until I think earlier last week, this week that's just gone by, we were still at a point where we could only have gatherings up to 100, and then was it 100, and so it really meant that anything you arranged was you could only have a certain number of, say, couples coming. If you included all the staff that needed to be there as well for an event. But it's been nice. I think we're really quite okay in that respect. We had at yesterday's jewellery and fashion event. Yes, that's right. Sorry, there were Aucklanders there. So we get a lot of internal people coming from around the country, and so that's good. But really is not back to normal in all ways, but nearly, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Denise that I know, like I said, I really love your sense of style. But when we talk about style, color is a pretty important element in any style, right? At times,
Yes.
I find that the style may be very blended, but because of a good color, it really pops out the whole person's entire harmony. On the contrary, some colors might not be too pleasing for a certain person, but if the style is so fabulous, at times the style do overpower color in a bit. So, in our region, black is always the color that most people wear. People here, we love to wear, clothes that are very comfortable and black. So each time I ask people, why do you like black? At least 80% or 75%. And they will tell me, black gives a slimming effect, and black is very safe. Anywhere I go, I don't have to think about mixing and matching, right? You see, if I were to bring a client to do shopping and I suggest a black dress to her, I can almost guarantee she won't come back to me again. Why would I want to bring a client out shopping for a black dress when she can pick up a black dress anywhere? Because black is a demand. So, most boutiques around or retail stores, you will see a lot of black. But our profession is to bring color to your life. Our profession is to really make you understand how color can turn and transform your mood. Do you agree with me, Denise?
Absolutely, yeah.
Denise,
yeah.
Can you tell me? Denise is a person who loves color, I know, and Denise gives a lot of color online trainings too. So, can you tell me, why should people wear color and not just a black or a white? Why is color so important to us?
I think, well, first of all, a comment on black is it's really more of a fashion thing in a way. It's been in fashion for so long, but I think that phase is passing. Color is so important because, it just brings us life to our face.
Yeah.
It's contrary to what most people think. Black doesn't suit everyone. It does age us terribly. I know that as I have got more senior in years, I just definitely can't wear black. I mean, that's when I start looking my age,
All right. So can I say, Denise, if we are more matured, we have to forego or stay away from black? Are you saying that?
Absolutely. Well, if you don't suit black, there are some people who do, but not so many in my experience, actually. At least we would stay away from black under our face. People like us with dark hair and black hair, yes, we can use it as something to balance our outfit. Yes, maybe the black pants or the black trousers, but close to our face, we want to look beautiful. We want to look younger, and we don't want to look sick. We don't want to look tired. We don't want to look ugly. Why would you not want to wear colors that actually liven your face and make you look absolutely amazing? Yeah?
So, Denise, you have done umpteen number of image consultations. I know people will just buy your image consultation, whether it's face-to-face or online. Why are these people coming to you?
I think people get to a point in their lives when they say, I'm tired of looking like this, or I'm tired of not knowing what suits me. And they just want to break out of that and just make life easy. And it does. It makes life really easy, and it makes life so exciting. And I consistently find that after a color consultation, people say, oh my goodness, I wish I had done this so many years ago. It's like eye-opening. It is life-changing. And that is just an amazing thing to be able to impart to people. You know,
I totally agree.
Giving them joy.
I totally agree with you. You know, but I felt that clients, they have to first put themselves in the first step. Now, we are image consultants, right? A lot of people often felt that there are many reasons why they come to us. One, they don't come to us, right? One of the reasons is, number one, they might think that going to an image consultant, it could be, you know, a factor that, is there something wrong with me? So some people will feel that I dress very well. You know, I wear all kinds of colors and I dress well. I don't need you to teach me to dress even better. So that could be one. Another reason is some people will have this inferior complex, like, do I need to see one image consultant to make myself better? And another one, it could be somebody who told me, no, we cannot afford image consultants. And they practically do not know what image consultants do. So perhaps, Denise, tell me, you and me, both of us have the same profession. We do the same thing, although the way we train colors might come from a different system, but why not? Yeah. So tell this to everybody. I'll be so happy to hear from you. What can an image consultant help? How can an image consultant help you as a person who is watching us today? How can we image consultants can help you? Let's hear from Denise.
I think one thing is that to those people who say that they're fine on their own. I mean, okay, yes, there are some people with a good eye, but there are many people, I would say, you don't know what you don't know. It's so much more in depth. I find that even people with a good eye, that when they come for a color consultation or a style consultation, they find that what they knew is either confirmed or slightly altered. And I would always say to someone anyway that probably about 80% of the time, if you really, really listen to your heart, you will probably be pretty much right. But there are so many subtleties, as you know, Jo, in color, right? Yes. So many subtleties and tones and levels of the shades, whether lightness and darkness and dullness and clarity, so many qualities of color that if you know about the differences in a color, there's no more guesswork in it. You can know exactly what it is that you suit. It's not just a plain color. It's never about I suit blue or I suit red. It is the type of blue, the type of red, the amount of clarity, the lightness and darkness of it, the amount of dullness or brightness and vibrancy. There is just so many things that we can, you can know exactly right. What you suit.
Right. Exactly. So to us, even people who come to us, in total of what Denise says, I would always say is the harmony that, is the totality that the person wear colors. You might have a certain color that you like for me, example, I am typically, I'm very toasted, as you can see. So being an autumn woman,
not literally,
being an autumn woman, I should be looking good in all autumn colors. However, there's this fire inside me, I have this spring kind of personality. Whenever I see colors like Rive Gauche, a fiery red, a hot magenta, for instance, I just love these colors. So that's my personality. So when would you use these colors to light up your personality? When do you use certain colors at a certain time for a certain occasion? When you meet certain people, it's totally different. I mean, we teach us a lot in college. How do you dress when you go for an interview? It's so important, right? In the corporate arena, when it's your first client, you should also study the person that you are meeting. How would you dress to look pleasant in front of the person? So people say color is the first thing that comes to the eyes. Do you agree, Denise?
Absolutely, yes.
And I know Denise is so powerful in your color consultation. Already what we hear about her description of, you know, the lightness and the darkness already, I think people who are so interested and you want to do an online consultation with Denise, Denise, what would be your website, or how could people come to you?
Yeah, you can come to me through by emailing me or going through my website. Website, my company name is Imago Image, which is basically image with an O on the end of it. You know, IMAGO, IMAGE. Imago Image.
Or the minute you type Denise Ng, it will lead you to the right platform, right?
Yeah. So I'm www.imagoimage.com, or you could just remember info@imagoimage.com.
All right. I would just go Denise Ng, okay? Remember Denise Ng as a poised, polished woman in terms of color and style. Now, one last question. Of course, I know a lot of people are watching us already. So people, if I don't say hello to you, I put my phone quite away. I really thank you for watching us, right? We will answer to your question if you have any question from there. Or my producer and colleague T would be able to write us any questions that is being asked by the audience, so that now Denise is online with us. We will be more than happy if Denise can share her answers to your question. Please put your questions for us. Yeah, I'm going to have one last question for Denise. Denise, not last question, that is two last questions. Denise, how long have you been already in the image consulting business? You're running on your own?
I'm been in this line for, oh gosh, coming to 25 years.
25 years. Oh my God.
I kind of hesitate to say that because it really ages me, but yes.
You know,
I think I qualified in 1994. So
fantastic. Yes. 25 years. You're so enriched with experience. You know what, Denise? I have been in the corporate line. I mean, being a trainer, for me, you ask me to go up on stage to speak, I have no problem, because I have 20 over years as a trainer and working with real MNC companies, working with international brands. So, you know, I've been with Chanel for 8 years. I've worked with Sisley. I've worked with P&G. So really working in the corporate line for so many years and being a trainer. And I actually regretted for not picking up this career. I should have picked up this career 10 years ago, although I'm already 12 years here right now running this. And I never regretted it, even though I'm late. Like I said, I could have been earlier, but I often say it's better to be late than never. Yeah. And when I went into this career, I was telling myself, am I too late? I went into this career in my late 40s. And suddenly I get to learn and I get to be in connection with people like Carla Martis, Lynn Marks, Elise Parsons, all these, you know, global gurus. And the more matured in years they get, the more value they are, the more valuable they are. Then I was telling myself, I am in the right journey. I'm in the right platform. As an educator, I'm really in the right industry. Therefore, when Denise say, 25 years, I say, no, the 25 years is really, you know, a champagne. You are someone who anyone will be sworn to you because of your vast experience. In fact, I'm still, working towards that status. So you see, if I see our people like landmarks and color artists, I'm very happy when I get to be 70 years old. I still can be one of the very top, selected image gurus around the world. So we are in the right industry, Denise. So my last question to you is, you have umpteen clients coming to you to do one-to-one consultation. I do have a lot of graduates and students watching you too. So can you tell us, Denise, what is your greatest challenge of any of your client? How could you turn this challenge to, how could you make this client who initially might have some hindrances to your consultation or whatever it is, how can you put them to your side and they become your ardent fan?
Okay, I think I'll answer that at two levels. One is throughout my the time that I've been a consultant, and now what the challenge is right now at this point in time. I think a lot of the time, the clients that come to you, they're actually fairly on board already, because once I've made a decision to come to you, they have already, they're already of more or less at that mindset. The challenges are when they've been asked to come, perhaps if it's been suggested by their work that they come, and they may be quite resistant.
Okay.
In order to overcome that, if you focus on what their need is and ask them to come up with what they would like to learn, what they need, what they feel they need. And once you address those things, not what everyone else thinks that they should be doing or needing, but when they are actually able to identify that for themselves, they're so much more on board with you. Yeah, I think it's also about giving them a lot of really take home advice. That's actually really important, because if they can see the value of what you're offering, they will also be a lot more on board and happier with coming to see you. I think at this point in time, the challenge is because we're basically all locked down. We can't travel, and many people, even when they are able to come and see you, they may feel uncertain about having that extra social contact. Or at this point also, when the economy is at really a point where people are expecting depression coming on board, the economy being at a very difficult time, it's I think that people are uncertain about investing in this sort of advice. They'd rather hold on to their money, and that is a challenge. Yeah. So that is one current challenge. A second current challenge is the fact that particularly for me at the moment here, I need to now look at more less face-to-face consultations and having perhaps more online consultations, and that is a mind obstacle for a lot of people, particularly older people. So one of the groups that I train is actually a senior group, and so sometimes for you as consultants, the third ages are the ones who will find it difficult to even contemplate seeing somebody online on a screen and not face to face. I think that those are the challenges that I would have at the moment. Yeah.
So if I rephrase, if you have a client, if there are some challenges that arise, we need to really focus on the needs of the person. Yeah. And what take-home advice do you give to your client? Because at the end of the day, it's the value, what they pay you, right? They want value, or we might say, you know, we will even do the extra mile today, right? Of this situation where people are really not prepared to spend a lot on unnecessary expenditure. They felt that doing an image consulting today, it's not a necessity. When they have money, they will put money on the table. So it's a yes and no. It all depends on how you embrace the whole situation altogether and how much you know about this client. Because I always believe this may be really the right time for you to really reflect deep in what are the things that you are lacking in. We want to prepare ourselves one day that we are going to go out normal. Maybe not be 100% normal, but human relationship, interpersonal communication with people, it's still the ultimate. We cannot be living with our mobile. We cannot be just living with the PC with us. We need to eat. We need to see people. We are all, you know, made of, you know, feelings all together. So it's actually a good time to prepare yourself. How could you, you know, anticipate what is going to happen in 2021? So this is a good time for you to prepare. If money is the challenge right now, I'm sure you can always speak to us. How can we work with you in order for you to progress at the same time? Of course, you know, you have to pay for what you need to be in what you want to invest, right? I'm not saying you buy a house, we're going to teach you to get 10 houses, but there are things that you see what come back to you without realizing. They are not monetary terms at the moment, but definitely they are monetary terms in the long run. So I always give advice to people, you know, whatever you do right now, whatever you prepare right now is never wasted. You will use it one of these days, right? And you have to be a little bit more patient. You cannot expect things to work overnight. I know, Denise, I know so many other global trainers. It's not because I contact them and let's do, you know, a session. I know them, I build relationship with them, and there has to be a trust. And they must like to come to your platform to share. Otherwise, why would they want to share their, you know, their secrets with you? Yeah. So thank you so much, Denise, on your time. We have taken 45 minutes, almost an hour, because we had some backstage talking. So thank you very much.
I noticed that there are some questions here.
Yes, I can't see it all, you know.
Okay, I can see the questions here. Okay,
is there
may I address those? Yeah, I can see it on my side. So how do you know what color looks best on you? It's one of the questions. So, okay. It's, if you always go back to how a color looks on you, that is the most important thing.
Sorry, I lost Denise a little bit. Denise, what was the question again?
The question is, how do you know what color looks best on you?
Okay.
Okay, so and if for the image consultants who are online, or this is actually applicable to anybody who's watching actually, but you always have to remember the person, and really, what are we doing? What are we asking about colors for? It's actually just to look good, isn't it? So really what you need to do is to see how a color, what it actually does to you, what it does to your face. So when a color looks good on you, it's going to make your face look lively. It takes away, in actual fact, it erases wrinkles. It's absolutely amazing. It helps you to, your eyes brighten up. You look more friendly. You look definitely younger. There's no eye bags. There's no moustache going on. There's no beard going on. You know, actually bad colors actually do this. There's no strange color. You basically look your best. And how do you know? Okay, one of the very, very simple things is if you've got a color in your wardrobe, a top that you know that everyone always says, oh, you look absolutely amazing in this. And you know it is an absolutely wonderful color on you. Look at it, see what it does to your face. Then when you're not sure about another color, you take this one and you put it there, and you take the other one and you put it there. It's like, does it make me look just as good? And if it makes you look just as good, it's your color. Okay. Very simple answer, because that is actually the practical answer to this.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Denise. And more often than not, when we do the same thing like what Denise do to our clients, they actually come back to us and say, wow, these days my colleagues are complimenting me that they actually see more of me rather than just the color. At times, there are people who love very bright color. So, you know, we will say, oh, your dress, the color is nice. But what about you? You know, it just do not complement the person. So the color that we put on our body should complement the person, the entire harmony of the person. Right, Denise?
Yes, that's right. There's another question here. Colors or style, which one to study first? Okay. Actually, it doesn't really matter. You can do either first. I always like, if I've got a client and they're wanting to do color and style, I usually like to do color first. It's just so uplifting when you know what colors suit you. And I find that it is such a natural pairing with style that when you learn color, you will automatically want to know style as well, because once you know you've got amazing your colors, you definitely will want to know what style suits you. But in terms of which goes first, I don't think it really matters, but I do think that it needs to be done as a pair. There was a question. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. We can go on. There's a question.
There was a question on how do you pivot from offline to online? What are the challenges? Okay. There are two types of training that you can do. One would be the coaching with one person. Of course, the challenge there is that a lot of people would prefer to go face-to-face with you. But over time, we're hoping, of course, all of us, that people will become more familiar with online coaching and know that actually online coaching in terms of color is actually possible, and definitely with style. If we are doing an online training, that requires quite a lot of thought, because you have to structure your online course quite differently. And you still, if you're doing a training, you still must offer them practical experiences. You still must offer them hands-on stuff. And it must be interactive. It can't be you just sitting there having a PowerPoint presentation with you as a tiny little person on the side. You have to do a lot of talking. It has to be interactive. You've got to keep on asking questions. So how do you pivot is that take what you have already and think about how it will actually translate online. So obviously, think about what the challenges are for the person who's being trained. I mean, of course, we've all got our problems, but all of this must always be focused on the person that you are training or the person that you are speaking to in terms of a consultation. So one of the big challenges is actually for them to have the correct lighting, because I've been in a situation where I had preempted my trainees. I need you to have good lighting. We need to be able to see the colors. I need to be able to see your skin tone, etc. But do you think that happened? No, people are not going to prepare, and people don't really get it, and they don't really want to do this. I am not sure if I'm still online because Josephine has disappeared, but I'll carry on speaking.
Oh, yes,
yes. Okay.
No, it should be Denise. Yeah. Denise, you are our focus. It should be you.
Okay. So the challenges are for them. What you need to do is to give as little work to them as possible in terms of preparation, but you can give them tips in terms of things like lighting and a big device or the microphone, etc. And one of the things that you can do is that perhaps the first part of any coaching or training is more about you talking and teaching until they get familiar with things, and then you can start doing a little bit more practically, just so that they're a little bit more in tune with it, and also understanding why you need all these things from them, and they kind of get really excited and then they get on board with you, but to start them off easily. So basically for you, if you are teaching people, you need to be thinking very much about how to excite them about what you're doing, how to get them on board and thinking about their challenges and really dumbing it down in a way. I'm not saying you don't give them the good information, but make it very simple, because first of all, people only have a very short time, attention span, especially online. And so you need to kind of change it up quite quickly. You talk a bit or you do a presentation a bit, and then you've got to do a little bit of practical. Hey, look at this. I can do a demonstration. A lot of it's about the demonstration because you have got the right lighting. Maybe they don't. So as I was saying, I was in a situation where I was on an online training, and one of the ladies had such bad lighting that we couldn't even see what she was holding up. We couldn't see their color. What color is that you've got there?
And there will be some kind of percentage of color variation, right? This might not be the true color that we see due to lighting.
Exactly right.
Through the computer.
Exactly right. So you've got to think of other ways of actually eliciting that information without actually having to rely on being able to see their color. You've got to think of all the other ways, because we're all doing different methods of color consultation, right? So I don't want to comment on the way that you do it, but try to find a way to do it where it's not only reliant on what you're going to be seeing on them.
Right. Now, thank you so much, Denise, for your time. We have overrun the session for a good 15 minutes. I know you might have many other questions. You can always put it into my Facebook page or my wall or even Denise's wall. We will be connected. And in order to find out more about Denise, if she has got some new upcoming courses, please do ask me and I will link you to Denise, right? So Denise, we are so glad you have shared valuable, really, so much of value into how we do color consultation as a color expert yourself. And so we will catch up with you. We will catch up with you and I welcome you back to Malaysia. By the way, we have to think about after December 31st, because that is where our borders will be locked down. But just hopefully, if all of us are doing it well, we will be meeting each other very soon. So right now, we have to prepare ourselves for better times ahead in 2021. So people, stay safe, stay healthy. And Denise, please send my regards to Robert and your kids, right? So thank you so much, Denise, for your time.
Well, I hope to meet some of you face-to-face at some point. I can't see any of you there, but I'd love to meet you. And I will be running a colour course on the 16th of October if any of you are interested in joining. Okay, that will be up on my Facebook soon. Thank you.
Very good. So thank you, Denise. We'll see you. Thank you, people, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jo, for having me.
More than happy, right? So people, thank you so much. Get in touch and you have a fantastic weekend. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, T. Bye.
And